Happy.
Happy. There you go.
Thanks.
Right.
Cool.
Okay. So what are we getting started with today? What are we going to chat about?
For me, the biggest thing is I'd like to talk about why getting custom fit as opposed to just a general retail fitting is important.
Okay.
What makes us different? I think there's this general concept of like a fitting is a fitting, and the guys that are that have had a bad fitting may think that why would they go to a different place if they had a bad experience or haven't seen the results that they would like to. And it's like there's certain factors that I would like to highlight, and talking about today specifically certain things with driving irons. Simple
Yeah.
as that, what we look for versus what you may not get at other places. And that is maybe why we start to see, well, not maybe, it's definitely why you start to see like maybe slightly increased distance or whatever with your irons, but you're not getting better scores, or it's not optimizing how you play your golf, and there's certain reasons why. So yeah, for me that's obviously a big touching point, is like, what is a fitting, why do we do it the way we do it, why are we so technical, and why is that important to the player, and that to me is the big thing.
So kind of not just going in and saying, sweet, swing my driver at 100 miles an hour or whatever.
100%, yeah.
And therefore I should be fit into a extra stiff shaft. Kind of a
exactly.
stock shaft.
Yep.
But extra stiff off the rack.
Yep.
And same with irons, like a 12 handicap, therefore I should be
These are
playing,
the irons I should be playing.
kind of your mid-range irons at a stiff shaft, and then
Yep.
that's kind of the,
Correct,
the
yep,
end
exactly,
of
yeah.
your customization
Yeah.
that you get at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things to touch on there. One, when you do go into a shop and hit clubs in that setting, you're hitting a 7-iron, but then they are giving you a set off the rack, which looks the same at face value.
Stamped the same as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, it says the same thing, so we're led to believe that it is the same thing, which it's not. And I'm going to prove that today and just run you through a couple of examples that I've got here. So on the fact of, you go into a shop, you walk out of there, and all of a sudden you're hitting a 7-iron. You used to hit a 7-iron 150, now you're hitting it 170, and you guys are like, wow, I'm hitting the ball so far, this is amazing. Take the clubs out onto the golf course. Yes, they're hitting it far, but now they don't know what distance to hit the ball, because if they have a bunker in front of the green, they're actually not carrying it further, it's just rolling out further. So the main focus with us is you want to be able to stop an iron on the green. So we're looking at carry distance versus roll distance, but most importantly, what is your carry and how quickly does it stop when it hits the green? Because that's the job of an iron. Its main focus is how far does it carry and how quickly can I get it to stop? Because we want to land an iron on a green. We don't want to have to roll it up,
Yeah, you don't want to hit your 7-iron, carry at 155 and then it rolls
bank
out
on it rolling up
190 or
to the
whatever.
flag. And then you start playing golf like that. You start trying to land the ball short to run it up. But what if there's a bunker? What if there's water?
Yeah.
Then your hand's forced to go, my 5-iron carries 150, but it rolls out to 185. So now what you have to start thinking about what's at the back if there's nothing in front. Or if you're trying to land it on the green, you've got no chance in hell of stopping it. So, yes, fine, you're hitting the ball further, but is that going to make you a better golfer? Probably not. Because you're actually losing control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on that point, I've got 3 types of iron heads here. What we would, in retail terms, call a player's distance iron, which is also just marketing, and it's a fallacy, by the way. It's 3 head designs being a sort of bigger headed iron here with more MOI. Main focus on this thing is to launch the ball higher and spin it higher. 99% of golfers struggle to launch it up in the air and get enough spin. That's this job. That's the function of this iron.
Beginner / cavity
correct.
back iron.
Yes,
is what
yeah.
people
So
would usually call it.
oversized player's distance iron, if you want to call it that. But where we go wrong here, this is a high launch, high spin iron. But if you look at the loft on that, what does that say?
So loft on here is 28 degrees.
Okay, what is a 7-iron theoretically supposed to be?
Is it 34 or something around
35,
there?
yeah. So standard is 35. So you see where we're going. You basically got a iron that says 7 on it,
Yeah.
but it's the same loft as the traditional 5 iron. So
Yeah.
yes, of course you're going to hit it further.
Yeah.
But
Because
it's destroying that main focus of what that iron is made for. It's made to launch higher, spin higher, but you're never going to get higher spin, higher launch because you're hitting a 5 iron just in a 7 iron shaft. So you can see how it contradicts.
I'd imagine you're probably getting very similar numbers to what your traditional 5 iron.
100% in terms of launch and spin, and there we lose carry and so it will come out flatter, so it won't go far enough. So when we're doing fittings, we're obviously looking at launch angle, spin rate, land angle. You're going to get more sort of the launch and the spin of a 5 iron, but because the shaft is shorter, you might lose a bit of land angle there. So you're going to have
That's gonna
a club that carries
spin.
150 but rolls out 40 meters, which is no good, right?
Yeah.
More traditional sort of semi-blade here, you can see that in a forged head is 34 degrees.
34. Yeah.
And that's way more standard. And what we find in our fittings is we often guys struggle to get land angle. So we're finding like, you tell them you're going to go weaker, but it's already like, if I fit you into that, you'll say to me, but my previous 7 iron was 29 or 30, which is a sort of standard strong 6 iron. And you got to hit it shorter, but as you know with your experience, you actually hit it the same distance, but you're just carrying it so much further and stopping it so much quicker for the same total distance. And that's why I think like it's a misconception that, if I go stronger in the club to give you peace of mind for your ego, that, okay, cool, now you're going to hit your 7 iron 160. That's what you used to hit it 15 years ago. You want to get back to that, but you're actually not doing that because you're defeating the object of, you want to hold the green, you want to launch it at whatever that loft is. So good example, we use half of your actual loft on your 7 iron is what your launch angle should be.
Yeah.
So if it's a 35, you want to launch your 7 iron at sort of 17.5 is the ideal number. If it's a bit higher, that's okay.
Yeah.
But then the land angle we want that to be around 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Where if you're starting at 28, your ideal launch there is going to be 14, maybe because of the MOI that's moved back, it might be 15, 16, but it's still too low. So you're getting lower spin, lower launch, and then no hold on the green.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like what you said is when I did that changeover from, like I said, probably something along the lines of this with the player's iron or the more forgiveness and more distance. I think mine was sitting closer to a 5 iron traditional loft.
Yeah.
And now when I've changed over, granted I've gone a club less, where I would be hitting a 7 iron.
Yep.
Previously, maybe I'm hitting a 6 or even a 5, but the difference I have noticed playing now is it hits the green and it stops.
And it stops. 100%.
Maybe it comes out a little bit low. I'll roll out 8 to 10 meters, and that's a bad shot. But generally, it's going to land and it's going to stop within 3-4 meters. And then it's a lot easier to play like that. I mean, it's a bit of an adjustment, sure, that you got to make, but for the most part, I feel like I got more control over my game now.
100%. Yeah, so, it's that level of predictability, right?
Yeah.
You can like hit a shot, and even if you do, like you say, catch it a bit thin, you go, ooh. In the past, like we had you in the fitting going 7 iron is a 180 club, and then every now and then you de-loft it and you turn that face down and you get the one that goes 210.
Yeah.
Now you don't have that anymore. One, your shafts are right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually playing the right flex and profile in the bend, and we'll get to that maybe in another segment, but it's like, this is just one part to choosing an iron. It's if you struggle to launch it, yes, you do want something that's got the MOI a bit more back to help you launch it, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be a 5 iron loft to keep the distance on. If you have the combination of 33, 34, 32 maybe in the 7 iron with the right shaft, you're going to get right launch, right spin, right land. That's ultimately what you need. But it doesn't mean you need to go into a 5 iron loft to get distance. It's the combination of head and shaft for you, and not just, like you say, it's not just flex and weight, it's where does it bend, what is your tempo, transition, release, how do we make that decision? We've got all the TrackMan data to tell us that and make an informed decision. And even then, after we've looked at 5-10 options, we're going to try those with a combination of different heads for swing weight, what the playing weight is, what you like, adding strips of lead tape to see which swing weight works best for you. And then when we build the club, we actually do that for you. So it's a custom set for you, not, oh, you hit this one nicely, let me pick it up off a rack. And we haven't even measured that. So I don't know what the loft is. I don't know what the flex is playing. You know, that's why we have all the machinery.
Length is also a big
again,
one, like you say, yeah.
And grip thickness. I mean, we can, I mean, I can carry on for hours, you know me. But it's like, you bring your irons now to me. You know your 7-iron is 34. You know what the length is. You know what the swing weight is. You know what the lie angle is. I mean, what golfer that you play golf with out of your mates knows what their loft and lie is?
Very few.
What do they know? What flex they're playing? No.
Well, they know what it says on the shaft.
But
obviously that's a whole nother story as well.
And it's astounding that is kind of what we buy into. And you know, I'm starting to realize it more and more how much of an impact it makes from even the coaching side, because you know, you can coach somebody to be a good player and have a good golf swing, but if their golf clubs don't complement them, they plateau. And then you kind of, as a golf coach, because I've got to separate myself a lot of the time in between the two, because I'll have a fitting with you now and then tomorrow you come in for a lesson. Two different things completely, because I need to match bend profile, loft and lie to you based on how you swing the golf club. And your swing DNA is always going to be tempo, transition, release. I'm never going to get that perfect or much different unless we're here every day hitting balls. It's going to take you 5 years. So that's probably understandable that you might need to change clubs then. But like at this point, it's like, oh, you got forged irons. I can bend your loft and lies as you go and as you improve or as your swing changes. But your bend profile of your shaft and the flex is probably not going to change. Because it's how you swing. It's known as swing DNA.
So, yeah, I think that's also quite an important part. I mean, I know it's a slightly different segue, but that kind of whole misconception of, cool, I'm not going to go for a fitting, I'm not playing well enough. Is that, like, the fact of the matter is
it's not going to change enough.
It's not going to change enough in that short period. And also, if you get a set of clubs that fits you well, you're going to be able to, as time goes on, like you said, maybe adjust a few things as your golf swing progresses, you know, as you get slightly better. But for the most part, a set of golf clubs that you get custom fit for you are going to last you a very long time, and they're going to suit you
100%.
For a very long time.
It's not like we are never fit for right now and that's it. It's like, if you're swinging at this club head speed and I can see there's potential, or you tell me you're working on your golf swing, I can go, you know, you might gain, and I'm talking like might maybe gain, and you know this, like we were just talking about it off screen earlier, how you've gone from 105 driver speed to like 110, 111. It's still, you know, when we built you into that shaft, it was like, okay, cool, you actually swinging at a 6.5 on the frequency speed wise. Bend profiles are perfect, and we know that, that's why you're hitting it so much better. But if you go up to 7, it's not going to make the biggest difference. You know, like it's not like you're going to go from a 4.0, which is like a senior flex or regular flex, to 8.0 overnight. It's something that if you work hard enough towards it, you can justify going, maybe in 2-3 years time I'm going to need a change shaft because I'm building up to this. But I mean, it takes a hell of a lot of work, and most people that obviously come in here are guys who have a job and they're not standing there hitting balls all the time. And if they're a golf pro, like we have a few pros that we work with, we like they sort of get to a point where it's like 3 or 4 miles an hour, maybe 5, and then we can look at it because they're playing golf every day. It's a completely different, you know, it's a completely different approach, because if you tell a pro in 3 years time, oh, you're swinging it much quicker now, you need to change shaft, they're going to go, oh, that's amazing, I actually like that, so I'm happy to sort of invest in that. So that's just like iron wise, there's no 12 handicap set or 24 handicap set or scratch golfer set. Number one rule is, what are your launch conditions? Do you launch it too low with too low spin? Do you want to launch it more mid, or do you want to launch it high with high spin? And that can mean, like we've got guys who play with 14 that play with blades. Why? Because they need to spin it lower and launch it lower. The golf club doesn't know what it is if you're hitting it out the center.
And getting something that suits you is going to, you know, whether it's shaft and head, weight as well,
exactly,
like you say, your MOR matching. And you get all of that right, it's going to mean that you're going to hit it out the center more often.
And the golf club doesn't know that it's a blade or a semi-blade or a player's distance iron. It just you strike it out the center, it's going to go. Case in point.
Well,
and needs to launch and spin at the right rate. That's it. It doesn't matter what the design is or how forgiving it is, because you don't need forgiveness if you hit it out the center. I mean, think about it.
That's exactly it. Like what happened with me now is going from kind of a mismatched set that I had that I just bought off marketplace. That for the
ladies slick shafts,
made it work. Made it work. But now going into something, I mean, at the time that I got fit, so I was probably like a 14 or 15 handicap, and to be fair, it hasn't gotten much better, but definitely more consistent with my irons now, and I'm now at a semi-blade. Whereas I feel like if you'd walked into some kind of retail shop, what's your handicap? Okay, cool, you need game improvement irons again, which is kind of going backwards, because you're going to spend all that money and then have the same problem of not being able to stick greens. Cool, I can smoke my 4-iron 250 or whatever, but
what good is
does it really matter?
100%. So I think for the irons, very good and very important to note that you need to match up head type for bull flight, so like launch conditions. Shaft is also going to play a part in that, but it's more going to be club head speed. Yes, I agree with that, but it's not the only thing. So it's not just like stiff and then whatever we have in stock, you get that stiff. It's stiff, what weight works for you, and we test the different weights, and what bend profile. So your flex in that sort of range. If we need it softer because you struggle to turn it over, that's fine. We can go within the bend point range. Flex can play a bit softer, or it can play a little bit stiffer depending on your miss. For you, you play pretty much half a flex stiffer, because your miss is a big left and it gets your hands going a little quicker, and we've kind of gone a little stiffer, and that seemed to do the trick in terms of not turning it over as much. It was a bit of swing, but we need to accommodate for that.
Yeah, sure.
Again, I'm your golf coach and your fitter, so I understand that. So I'm going to try and make you as solid as I can swing-wise. But in the fitting setting, it wasn't the case. It was, what do we hit to get that big left out, but still, get you the most consistent strike, ball flight, launch condition, spin and land.
And that dispersion, get that dispersion down, because that's obviously one of the biggest things is you get your dispersion better, the fact is you're going to score better. For the most part, there's always going to be a couple things here and there, but if your dispersion's smaller, you got less space to miss, you got less kind of room for error, a lot less guesswork as well during that time. So what's going to happen with this? Is it going to go, like you say, with that 7-9? Is it going to go 170, or
am
is
I
going to
get the 200 one? And that's the thing. It's like there's a perfect example of, you just said it clearly. You said, that wasn't me prompting you to say it. It was, you making the golf club work for you. That's not how sports equipment should be. You should be letting the equipment do their job to accommodate your golf swing. Because otherwise, all you're doing is compensating the whole round. And that's where the dispersion factor comes in massively, is when you're in a fitting, I tell you to just go after it like you normally would. Don't try and steer it because it's going left. Don't try to swing it softer to accommodate for if you do go a bit quick, it goes left or right. You don't need to do that.
Just hit.
Get the right club for you, right length, lie, loft angle, right shaft, right flex, and you swing your golf swing the way it should be swung. I don't care if you don't want to have lessons. That's cool. I can accommodate you. If that's one of the things, we don't have lessons, we don't practice, so we don't need to get custom fit. They're two different things. You don't get into a car that's left-hand drive if you've never driven it before, kind of thing. You got to do what is going to work for you and accommodate the way you do things. And that's what a custom built golf set is versus a retail fit golf set is. You're not getting something like what you hit in the fitting. You're getting exactly that, and you know why you're getting it. And I think that's the big thing is, why do you get it? Like before your fitting, you would have never been able to tell me my shaft flex is this. My weight on my shaft says 130, but it's actually 111. My grip size is this. My bend profiles are medium firm, medium firm, medium firm. Why? Because I'm a little quicker than the average golfer in my tempo transition release. You would have never known that, right? And you're not going to get that at most places. They're going to go, you swing it at 80 as a stiff. Cheers. See you later.
Exactly. Because I think that's probably all I would have been able to tell you is I'll probably swing it relatively quick. So That's all I know. I should be somewhere
100%.
around stiff, extra stiff. That's
And
all I would have been able to
That's
tell you.
you're 15% of the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'll pay full retail price for it.
Yeah.
You're 15% of the way there.
Yeah.
Look, it's better than zero, but would you not rather be 95 to 99% of the way there and spending the same money like for a longer term investment?
Yeah.
So you don't have to chop and change because you're not searching for something, you know?
Because I think that's also the other part is that there's kind of that misconception that it's stupidly expensive. And look, I mean, it's obviously not going to be cheap, but if you're going into new irons, I mean, rather spend that, incremental amount more to make sure that it's something that's going to last you longer, suit you better. You're going to feel more comfortable with, less guesswork.
You're going to play better.
Yeah, exactly.
Have more fun.
But also, golf's hard enough. You want to make it as easy as possible. Rather do this than all the hours of frustration,
Yep, 100%. Yeah, so I think like that's kind of like a deep dive into everything that's considered. And that's just on the irons. Obviously the woods are slightly different. But it's just to show that like when you hit a club that's made for you and you get that set built for you like that, when the set's fully MRI matched, every club in that iron set through to your wedges will be the same MRI. So that it means the force required is the same. So they feel the same. So you're not having to, how it is, like you got 4 different wedges in your bag. You know what it is. Like you don't know what flex they play, but you kind of got to swing them all a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where if your 4-iron and your lob wedge feel the same or almost exactly the same, you're not going to have to compensate. You just hit them all the same.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to have one swing for your whole set, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You're not chopping and changing or closing a face on this one and opening the face on this one or whatever, just to make sure it goes where you're aiming. They all go, they're built for you.
Yeah.
So they're going to go where you're aiming.
They go where you're aiming.
Pretty much what you want, right?
Yeah.
It's a simple statement, but it is exactly what we're looking for. It's like you don't want to stand and compensate because my gap wedge goes right. I must aim more left, or I need to try and shut the face a bit more on this. Like, no, swing your swing. We'll build the clubs to match that, and they should all match. Gapping in distances, loft gapping, huge. Imagine you got a 28 degree 7-iron, but your pitching wedge is 39 degrees, but your gap wedge is 50.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 clubs different. You get your pitching wedge 150, but your gap wedge 110.
Yeah. I had that exact problem.
And that all has to be considered. When we build a set, we do consider that. We go, okay, we actually sit down with you and go, look, your 7-iron goes 150 as an example, 150. Your 6 is going to go 160 carry, but also on the other end of the scope, it'll be 8-iron 140, 9-iron 130, pitching wedge 120. But your gap wedge will now not be 30 meters different.
Yeah.
We'll build it so that if your pitching wedge is 44, maybe we go into a 48 or a 49 degree gap wedge just to get you that number. So from the gap from 110 or 120 to 110 isn't like pitching wedge 120, gap wedge 100. Because now all of a sudden you got 3 or 4 different shots you got to hit with your pitching wedge.
Yeah, which are tough. I mean, down that side of the bag, it's always going to be tricky to try and get you play like 70% of your golf game is from that distance. Exactly.
It's 50% is putting, but the rest of that is always going to be short game and your pitching. 120 meters in is where you want to be hitting greens, not losing shots.
Yeah.
If you're feeling or hitting touchy-feely shots the whole day and you're not committing to a swing, you don't know where the ball's going, that's where most amateur golfers lose their shots. They can all pretty much get it off the tee and get it around that distance, even if they're real beginner novice golfers, and get it to 100 on their second shot on a par 4 and make 7. Because they don't know how far they hit the ball, because every club in their bag in that region, which is the most important region, isn't for them, one, or they don't know how far it goes because they're all different lofts and all different flexes in the shaft, and lie angles are different. You don't know, it's just a gamble. It doesn't make sense if that's your starting point.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you want to kind of take that gamble out of it.
Yeah,
completely.
Peace of mind.
Yeah.
Same goes for our tour players. Under pressure, you don't want to stand there and go, I know this thing can go right or can go left. Those guys want to stand up on a tee box and go, with peace of mind, I can hit this as hard as I want, or as soft as I want, or as controlled as I like, but it's going to do the same thing, and I know exactly how far it's going to go. If the adrenaline's pumping, okay, we'll take one less club, but it's not going to go like with your previous set.
Yeah.
You kind of try go after one, and all of a
Also,
sudden we're 40 meters left and 40 meters
Yeah.
long. You don't
And-
want that. You
yeah,
can't
and
have
on
that.
on the previous shots, it's doing complete opposite, you know.
Yeah, it's 140 and high, right? Yeah, I got
I
you.
mean,
Yeah,
and that's all the set makeup, like you said.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not suited for what my swing was. So,
No, 100%. No.
Yeah.
Ladies flick shafts at 97 miles an hour clubhead speed with a 7
Not ideal. Not ideal.
When you, that's the perfect example of we
Yeah.
got you at sort of 6.7, 6.8 flex, and you were 3.6.
yeah.
It's a bit of a difference, right?
Yeah. No, fair
Cool.
enough.
Sweet.
Okay.
Happy. So I think that's pretty much for the irons.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll chat about the rest of the stuff in another segment, I think.
yeah. I think we can talk about drivers next time.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to just sort of break. We said we weren't going to be long, but it's
There's lots to talk about it. I think
Yeah.
just covering the whole fitting ideology, so to
Yep.
say, is very important, you know, to kind of give you that background
Yep.
as to what fitting is for, why.
Yeah, what goes into it, what's
Yeah.
considered, you know. It's
Yeah.
not just, oh, you swing it at this speed, this is your handicap, and off you go.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Sure.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Dave.
Lekker. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Fuck.
I was hoping that. Oh yeah. Thank fuck.